Nothing is a burden and everything is a test. Welcome back to another episode of the Be Better podcast. I'm your host, Harrison Orr. I've coached almost 500 guys to help them create things that money cannot buy. So things like the deeper connection with their wife and their kids, a level of fitness and health that enables them the energy, the mental and physical clarity to show up as their best self, and a level of self-mastery that allows them to dominate in every single area of life. And in this episode, I want to share a quote and elaborate on that and how that's been serving me and also some of my clients in reframing a lot of scenarios which previously would have caused a lot of stress, a lot of negative or lower vibrational energies, which result in less than ideal emotions, but also less than ideal results and actions. And that quote is, "Nothing is a burden, everything is a challenge." And where that came from is this probably comes from somewhere that I just can't quote exactly, so I won't take credit for it, but it's somewhere out there. But I used to think that certain things were a burden. Like when there was an inconvenience, maybe at work, there was in the business, there was an inconvenience with people, with suppliers, there was an inconvenience with the marketing, an inconvenience with maybe, I thought this hit home the other day, also in my relationship. Like I had started ticking off this huge amount of all these things that we'd say we were going to do that needed to get done around the house in terms of being in the new house, like getting things organized and just high level stuff, and smashed through all these and was feeling super proud that I'd done all these things. I'd taken action on all these things, sorted everything, stepped into that masculine role model, taking the lead, taking control, smashed them all out, and was super excited and thought, my wife was going to be thrilled with that. And she's like, "Oh, look at you go, so happy, thank you for doing all that." And that appreciation, that gratitude lasted a couple of minutes. And literally by the end of the night, there was something brought to my attention that I hadn't done. Something that I'd said I would, but I hadn't. It's like, "You've been saying you do this for ages, but you haven't done this." And it turned into not an argument, but an emotional disagreement that to a level that we haven't had in a while. And not because we were arguing with each other, but I was being called out on things that I said I would do that hadn't been done, or they had been action, but the result hadn't come through yet, right? They hadn't taken effect. And I couldn't do anything. I just sat there and yep, you are totally right. I have not done this. I own that. I own that we're not going to be able to stay away this weekend as long as we would have liked, because I didn't do this thing when I said I would do it. And this is the consequence. And even with me owning it, didn't make the emotions any less, didn't make the problem go away. Even though just hours before, I'd done all these things, taken action, was feeling good, got that short-term appreciation, that dopamine hit, but then was reminded of the thing that hadn't been done. And a previous version of me would have got bitter, would have been finding excuses. "Yeah, but this," or "Yeah, but that, I just did all these things. Why are you not grateful for these?" And tried to make excuses or justify. And what I realized in my newer state, and this came to light after reading The Way of the Superior Man. If you haven't read that book, it's an incredible book for modern masculinity and how we handle, or how we should show up in relationships, in business, and as ourselves as a man. And it's one of the phrases in there that really stuck with me for this was, "Your woman will test you. Not because she likes to nag, not because she likes to just irritate you and get on your nerve, not because nothing is ever good enough, but because she will test you to see how strong you are. And that's what I realized. I was being tested. Like her response and her emotions were totally justified. And she wasn't doing it to put me down, to make me feel like shit, even though not being impeccable with my word, I rightfully deserve that. I viewed it as a test. Like, this is that opportunity for me to own where I didn't stand up. I didn't match my words to my actions. It's an opportunity for me to stay strong in that ownership, in not blaming anything else, and also to start to earn her trust in that testing. In that test is not to see also, I guess it's to see how I respond to things, right? Like a lot of, I will generalize. I'll take this from the book. I won't claim this, but from what it said, a lot of women, when they do it consciously or subconsciously, will test their man to see how strong he is in his purpose, in his mission, in his word, even as well, but also to be the best version of himself. Because if we allow ourselves to settle, if we allow our word to be anything less than impeccable, to not have any meaning or carry any weight, if we allow ourselves to be swayed by short-term feelings, or to other people that don't have the full context of our mission, of our purpose, it then shows subconsciously a lack of integrity and a lack of trust. And then how that shows up in that masculine feminine, in that relationship dynamic, is, well, if I can't trust you to honor your word, then I can't trust you to do what you said you would, which means I'm, as in like the female, is then going to have to do it because, well, I can't trust you to do it. And which means she has to step into her masculine, which means that balance is then out. When we have a female that's always in her masculine, like as a lot of business owning women are, awesome, all the power to you. But then when they hold that masculine energy and then come into a relationship, if we've got a man that wants to be in his masculine, then that gets challenged. Well, we end up butting heads, and there ends up that distrust, that disagreement, that a difference. Like, we're on different pages there. And what I was learning there was, for me to hold that masculine frame, for me to hold that strength to allow her to soften into her feminine, I need to step up and be proactive in A, being a man of my word, but B, being proactive in making decisions, taking control, getting those things done so it doesn't even have to cross her mind. And so if there is something that I want her thoughts on, it's a presentation of the summary of like this or that, as opposed to an open question of like, what do you want? What do you want me to do about it? Which doesn't lead anywhere productive, as I personally found. And this was an interesting experience to go through, because I'd heard some of this from mentors and people in the past, but I'd never been in this situation. And all the things that I thought that I had addressed in my own growth, in my own changes, all the things that I was starting to get confident in, that I had mastered, that I had overcome, that I had no longer associated with those traits as part of me, were then being brought to light. And to say I was triggered would be an understatement in how much I wanted to argue those points, in how much I wanted to just justify or like say like, no, you're wrong, and come up with every other excuse. But I knew that was just a test. And of course, if I'm being triggered by some of those things, then that tells me that there's an element of truth to these things, to some of these statements, and an opportunity for me to then look at, well, okay, so I'm being triggered by this. So clearly there's some merit to it. Where is there merit to it? Where am I not standing up to this standard, to these things that I've tried to override in the standard that I want to maintain for myself as a husband, as a father, as the leader of this household, and then being able to bring that ownership and that level of energy, like physical, not just physical energy, but like emotional, spiritual, vibrational energy of conciseness and directness to my coaching and to all the interactions that I have with guys on a day-to-day basis. And that wasn't not easy. It's not easy to look at your own self and all your weaknesses and all the areas that you're not showing up. But on the flip side, if we ignore those, which is ignorance is bliss, it allows us to stay exactly where we are. If we ignore all the areas where we're not leveling up, we're incongruent, then it keeps us exactly where we are. And so if you're happy with where you are, everything that you're getting, then keep doing what you're doing, and you'll continue to get what you've got. But I know that there's another level to me, and as a husband, as a father, and what I want to provide and give to the world. So it's part of my duty then to be able to view that light, because I know all of those traits that I don't own and then seek to rectify and to fix, that my son will then inherit, right? He will absorb those. He will see how I'm showing up. He will see how I honor my word. He will see how I do all these things, how I handle those type of conversations, those kind of situations. And then he will subconsciously take that on board as that's how you handle those situations. You get defensive and you blame people. You throw it back in their face. You find all the reasons why they're not congruent with what they said they would do, or however that lower state of us would handle that. Or maybe they just shut down, say nothing, walk away, sit there like a punching bag and take that. And so that reflection has been extremely insightful. It definitely hurt the ego a little bit, but that's part of the process, right? Trying to be able to detach from that ego so that we can see those areas of our life where we can be better. And so now with that, it inherently also creates a blueprint to then how to level up. Because I'm a big believer that the fastest way to get better at anything is to stop doing the things making you worse. And by identifying a lot of those traits is the blueprint of the stuff that we're doing that's not serving us right now. And that has been very helpful. And tying this back to the saying or the quote that nothing is a burden and everything is a challenge. Everything is a test, has helped me to reframe that and reframe all those things that I would have ignored, brushed off, called bullshit on, and seen how is that a test? How is that an opportunity for me to level up? How is that an opportunity for me to be the version of me, be the man that I said that I wanted to be? That ultimately, that divine masculine that shows up with control, that is impeccable with his word, that shows up with discipline, that has directness, but that level of empathy that enables you to feel supported, yet challenged, yet safe and secure all at the one time, which is going to allow my wife to lean into and soften into her feminine and just trust me that I've got us, that I've got our family. It's going to allow my son to explore, to play, to go crazy and test his limits, knowing that dad's got me. No matter what happens, dad will catch me if I fall. Because those beliefs aren't something that you can consciously install into someone, that you can tell them. Like I can't tell my wife, just trust me. It's something that she has to feel and it has to be proven that I can be trusted with my word and then with my actions matching my word. And then the same with my son. I can't just tell him, hey man, I'll catch you if you fall. Just go and do the thing. I'm here, I'm present, I'm listening, I'm doing all these things. But if he's got proof of incongruency, subconsciously he's not going to allow that. His subconscious is going to want to keep him safe. And it's like, if I can't rely on dad to keep me safe, I've got to do it for myself. Or I'll find someone else to do that. I'll lean on mum to be that role. I'll lean on somebody else to be that role instead of dad. And even just saying that hurts. That hurts that he would have to look for someone else to fill that role in his life because I wasn't man enough to step up and own my own shit so that I could be there for him and for her. And so that's a phrase I've been living by recently. It has massively reduced a hell of a lot of stress and helped me to reframe things, and then ultimately to be able to take action on that and own it as well, as opposed to ignoring it, brushing it off, and then just continuing in that same old cycle and spiral. And so I hope that's been helpful with you. I hope that phrase or that reframe helps you to self-reflect as to some of the things that you've been letting bother you, that you've been allowing yourself to react to get emotionally reactive to inhibit or just completely procrastinate on tasks that would ultimately serve you a lot better than continuing in that same pattern. And then upon that reflection, actually go and do something about it. So if that's helpful, I'd love to hear how that helps. Drop a comment on this or share this with, please, I'd love you to share this with someone that you feel would benefit from this, someone that wants to level up and has that drive to be better as a man, as a partner, as a parent in every area of their life, but just needs some of those reframes, needs that different perspective, because we all have our own emotional biases, right? Every single one of us. No one is immune to those. And so I hope this reframe helps them, helps you to level up in every area of your life so you can start creating things that money can't buy. With that, you've got the lesson. Go take action. Don't be sorry. Be better. I'll see you guys next episode.